G'day mate and welcome to another bass tour with me, JD. So this time we're touring, as you can see, last user, Fuxxx62, or as he's better known on Reddit is Shave. I probably bastardized it, but you know, everybody's got to get used to that by now. If you remember, or you watch, or you pay any attention to Reddit, he did a 10,000 science packs per minute bass a while ago. And it was a monster of a bass. And he did this by not having any bots and not having any belts at all. On the whole map. Everything's done train to train. Through an assembly machine. But, it's all done with all trains, which hats off to him, is probably the only thing I have to say. Now, this bass tour, I'm not actually going to stroll around the bass, because normally when I do bass tours, I actually host them as a multiplayer game, so I actually have my own character, my own settings, all that sort of stuff, which further impacts the UPS, and this one's already pretty borderline for me, because this is another 10,000 pack per minute bass. His last one, there's a guy on Reddit, Mad Pavel, I think his name is, who has a beast of a computer. All right, we're talking like 5.4 gigahertz overclocked out the wazoo PC that could run this guy's last bass, or Fuxxx62's last bass at around about 60 UPS when under maximum overclock. Not the regular overclock that most people use, the we're really pushing things to the limit just for 10 minutes just to test things out. This bass runs at 90 UPS under the standard overclock. So Fuxxx took what he learnt in his first attempt and redid things. And I've got to say, this bass is wow. Okay, so actually no, we run pretty fast. Let's go out here. So bass is quite simple. We've got a nice central light up display, which I'm pretty sure does important things, and we'll come back to that. And then if we run over this way and follow the wires always go to somewhere important. We have science at the end, because science. And you'll notice this a lot throughout the bass, that beacons don't overlap, and normally automatically people would have beacons overlap, but it's a case of if everything moves over 3 tiles, the train track has to move over 4 tiles or 2 tiles, because trains work on a 2x2 grid, whereas everything else is on a 1x1 grid. So you'll notice quite often things don't exactly line up. Now, production stats wise, because that's the important thing. Consumption is what we really want. That's a bass. That is that's 10 hours. 10 minutes. That's 1 hour. That's 10 hours worth, dead straight. 10,000 packs per minute. All right. He's actually made sure his labs are his choke point, whereas I normally make sure my labs can do a little bit over what I'm aiming for. And I generally find one of my other sciences becomes the choke point, or the bottleneck. All right. But yeah, this is, well, let's look at the all stats. 17 billion copper plate, 9 billion, iron plate, 9 billion copper plate. The one I'm always interested in is 287 million blue circuits. The bass was done in creative mode, so that's why you can see there's lots of perfect numbers down here, because they were pulled out of creative mode. Actually, if I open my inventory, you can see he's put on cheat mode. So we've got the rail guns, and we've probably got loaders here. Yeah, we've got the loaders here as well. But he hasn't used all those. It's in a vanilla build, so I'll have to double check. From memory, he said yes, I could put the link to the save in the description. Either way, there is a post in the description with the Reddit post, and You never know, maybe he'll put the save up on there as well. So, the end of the bus, we have science. Or the actual labs. Prior to that, we actually have the science. Now, he's had to use chests often. So we're going chest to chest to chest to chest to get full beacon coverage to then a long-handed inserter out, right? And I'm guessing that we're using long-handed inserters because they're probably not quite fast enough. Let's go with long-handed inserters. No, long-handed inserter is fast enough for yellow science. But as we walk further and further down the bus, you'll see he's had to use cars often to get that adjustment, right, in movement between one and the other. So yeah, yellow science, purple science. We've got electric engines, obviously for purple science. Standard engines, and there's no direct insertion here. All right, we'll go engines with a train that comes in to pick up engines, which will then loop out to go around to electric engines to drop them off. Here we go. Here's the cars I was talking about. Now, unfortunately, cars have to be placed manually, which I know for a fact would be the absolute giantest nightmare. And I'm actually surprised he managed to get that work. I would be capping all these so you didn't have problems, and then copying them from car to car to car, so it didn't accidentally end up out of sync somehow. Although I guess with this pre-capped, in theory, you won't have that hassle. But yeah, so we've got belts and inserters for good old green science. With we're going for a tank this time. So again, this is one of the other things you can do to increase throughput. When this train gets out of the way, and you can see the trains are nice and short. I'll show you the north side of the map and the whole bus later on, right? So this is 3 inserters down to a tank, 2 inserters into the machine to get the throughput we need. Let's go for stack inserters. So again, he could have probably used the long-handed inserter here on the output. And we've got more signals. More signals. I don't know what any of these signal wires do. Actually, that's only hooked up to there, so it probably doesn't really help. I'm willing to bet that's so he can hover over things from the other side of the map very quickly. No, because you could do that just by... I don't know. Leftover wires. Leftover wires, probably from a testing phase. Right. We got pipe. We got gears. We got smelting, so this is steel smelting. So we got iron ore in via a chest, which is capped to 50, via a chest, which is capped to 1k, into iron ore, and then straight into steel. Now, this is something I was actually looking at after looking at his base really quickly, probably about a week ago now. I've been, with moving and everything else, I've been flat out. Right? Normally, in all smelting, we put prod mods and prod mods, which actually means normally you have way too much iron ore for what the steel smelter can actually, or the electric furnace can process into steel plate, right? And he's gone with prod mods and then prod to speed, which when we go on items per second rate, it's a closer to a 1-to-1 ratio. There's still a little bit of overproduction, and what I'll actually do is I will steel. I'll put that in there, and I'll put that in there to demonstrate. So, if we go through the top one, you'll see that it's 0.78 per minute per second, compared to the bottom one is 0.98. And you can see the iron ore rate doesn't change. So it uses the exact same amount of iron ore per second, right? If it could run at full speed, which it can't run at full speed because the speed of this is capped by the speed of this. Alright? If that makes sense. So this makes 0.78 per second. This makes 0.79 per second. This has an overproduction of 0.72 machines. This has an overproduction of 0.167 machines. So a little bit more overproduction, which means this one runs a little bit slower, which means you stretch your iron ore slightly further. Whereas this is closer to a 1-to-1 ratio. It's something I need to experiment with. And like I said, it's one of the main reasons I love doing these base tours, because you get to see it, how different people do different things. And this is making me question something that I've done forever, but I'm now wondering if there is actually a better way of doing this, all right? Or doing steel smelting. So again, more steel smelting, more steel smelting. This is still steel. Still steel. I'm going to get flattened by a train. I can see it. More steel. More steel. More steel. And you can see this train is loading. It's loading with steel. It already has copper and it already has plastic. So that's going to go to... I want to say low density structures. Yeah, low density structures. So this is the train for low density structures, which is going and stopping somewhere and getting plastic, and then coming over here and getting, and then stopping somewhere else and getting copper, and then coming over here and topping it with steel. No, we're still in steel smelting. Brick smelting. So again, brick smelting. He's gone lots of stone into a very, very, very heavy car, into brick smelting, out to a steel chest, which is just topping up ever so slowly, right? And it's going to park here and wait for the stone brick train to show up. Same with, again, green circuits. So this will be... Oh, that's an interesting way of doing it. So he's got two stations here. Green circuits, iron, and green circuits. So I'm guessing enabled, disabled. We'll zoom in on where we are. So if green circuits is greater than 6K, which it's not currently, because this train's loading up, the station turns off. But if it gets low on iron, which... Enable if iron is greater than 850. So if it gets low on iron, it actually calls in an iron train to load this chest to then feed the iron in to get the green circuits out. That's actually genius. So copper always comes in the middle and runs both these sides. Alright. And this copper train can park here forever. It can fill up its cars and it can sit there for as long as needed. But getting iron plate in, which is one of the things I was thinking in my back of my mind when he told me about his base, right? Is how the hell for items like this where you have 3 or more items coming in, right? Do you like? Is he making copper cable and then putting copper cable on a train and shoving it into, you know, a green circuit machine with iron on the same train? Or... And no, the way he's done it is with iron coming in whenever it's low and making sure there's enough of a buffer here that the same line can also be used by green circuit machine going out. That's actually genius. And this is it in motion. So this obviously got low enough. Green circuit's iron train got called. The train's here. It's dumping its iron into all these chests. And then this station is enabled for a green circuit train, which is one of those. And where are you going? You're going to green circuits as well. And then so he doesn't end up with dead ends. So he doesn't end up with trains crashing because they got no path. He's got these 2 stations here with the train just parked there. So these 2 stations are always on, no matter what. So even if all the stations turn off, all these trains will path to right here, not be able to get in because of this signal, and then they'll just sit there forever. Again, genius. I love the ingenuity. So this is all green circuits. Have we got to the end of the bus yet? Nope. And of course, the biggest part of everybody's base is the actual smelting itself. So this is iron smelting. And again, long-handed inserter. So a long-handed inserter with max beacon? No, these are not quite max beacon coverage. So he's only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of the possible 12 beacon coverage. But it means he can use a long-handed inserter to get the iron ore in. Can't use a long-handed to get the iron plate out. Because it's just too slow. Alright. But there you go. There you go. Again, it's ratioed according to this inserter speed. He probably could have done it with a car and everything else, but then you got to put down 10,000 cars, and I have to admit that the prospect of putting down a few thousand cars manually by hand seems a bit of a nightmare. And after this train gets out of the way, we'll go up to the north side of the base. And this is copper, much the same. Alright, long-handed, stack inserter into a chest to get the copper ore out as fast as possible. Shoved into a smelter, shoved out to plate. Alright, nice and simple. It looks like your traditional bus. Alright, very, very sort of weirdly. And one thing I will cover really, really quickly is his actual mining. So he's gone with full beacon speed module mining with RSO mods. So, all the settings are set to max. There's a bazillion ore everywhere you look. Alright. I don't know why the weirdness with the ore patches. I'm guessing it's either RSO or there's been a ore deletion tool used. Considering this is nicely squarely cut, I'm going to say there's been an ore deletion tool used somewhere along the line. But when this train swings by, come on. And as you can see, they're very, very, very long trains that even though they have full rocket fuel, they're not terribly fast. Well, fast to accelerate. They all have the same maximum speed because they're all running on nuclear fuel, but not terribly fast. Now, I'm down to 20 UPS. But look at how fast that train is filling up. Alright. Now, one of the things that was discovered, I'll put it that way, discovered and ironed out during the Clustorio event is miners or inserters, anything over a train track, don't ever go to sleep. Right? So the way Fuxxx62 has got over this is by, where are we? Train station. So when the train is stopped, it outputs a signal U, which basically turns these miners on. So the only time you can see these miners are off, the little red lights, little lights going red. The only time these run is when they actually have a signal to say on. Now, his trains, he's loading up in 1, 2, 3. So he's loading them up in 3 sections. It's one carriage, 2 carriage, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. I can't really tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. So they must be 21 carriages long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So 21 carriages long, and they're on their own dedicated loop. So into smelting, out of smelting, around, back to the copper ore, and he's just mining out a small strip in the middle. Really, he's got the space where he could actually do the whole train at once, but I'm willing to bet because the mining productivity is insane, he just doesn't have a need to anymore. Alright, he can just have one train slide forward ever so slowly. And can we actually run over there? Because I would actually love to click on one of those miners and see exactly how fast they are filling up. Like that is insane. So the miners are set to enable disable on U is greater than 0. So you can see they're off. Train pulls up. U is 30k, which must be I'm worried about read contents of train. 21k? No. Output signal U. Read stop train. Don't know where the 30 comes from. Maybe it's this train plus another train. And they're on the same cabling system. What's it say now? U30k. I don't know. Let's jump on the train. We'll go for a quick ride. Back to base. Via a fairly elegant... I'm going to call it a stacker, because it definitely stacks trains. But the concept here being that you want all trains at an equal distance. Of course, I didn't jump the front carriage, did I? Okay, jump out. Jump forward. Get squished by train. Guaranteed to happen. So, the idea is all trains always are roughly an equal distance from each of the smelters. Now, you can see this is a set of 4. No, these are separate tracks. Okay, so that's ore, plate, ore, plate. So, ore, plate, ore, plate. Ore, plate, ore, plate, ore. So that, and that are ore. That's a plate, that's an ore, that's an ore, that's an ore. So you can see there's roughly a repeating pattern as we go along. So that be one, that be a center one. There should be another one out here, but obviously he didn't need that access. So one of these is going to take a preference occasionally. Alright, and I'm gathering that is fixed by that's fixed by turning the stations on and off as required. So we're going to station copper out. So yeah, this station just got turned on, so we're heading there. And as you see, these boxes aren't even empty yet. They've just got low enough that a train can actually be called in. So, make copper, make iron. Right? All these things come down and jump on a bus. Now, we're all familiar with the bus concept. Right? All the plate. So, this train track is iron plate. This one is copper. And then we got turns off the bus. So this is iron plate going down, 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 down into here for green circuits. There we go. So this is your fairly traditional turn off for green circuits. This will be the turn off as well for copper for green circuits, along with what looks like a merge to the iron lane for I don't know what, but I'm imagining there's something pretty important. Nope, that's a southbound lane. That's green circuits. That's iron ore into steel. I have no idea what, to be honest. Every single time I've looked at these train tracks, there's been a lot of going on. And I scratch my head and go, what the? Okay, so that's a train track that goes out that carries green circuits to get iron. Green circuits, iron plate, iron gears, and then goes to drills. So there you go. Alright. Using a bus method. Oh, here we go. Here's one of those copper trains I was curious about. So this copper train goes to... I don't know where. I'll have to follow it and find out. To there. Copper plates, gears out, red science. Oh, see, it makes entire sense now. So yes, he has used very much a method we're all familiar with, which is a bus method, right? Of, dedicated copper, dedicated iron, and then moved trains, not lanes, right? Trains up and down across the bus as required. Now, I have no idea, like a lot of this spaghetti is super special. And I use special in the politest term possible. I can't read half these train tracks. I thought everything went left, but there are some train tracks here going right. There are some going just left. There's a real spaghetti to it. There's obviously this kink here, which is kinked just that way, so a train can, if needs be, park in that section before it runs off, which is plastic. And again, same story. We've got coal in, fire truck. Ah, that's fire chest. To a car. Does that green wire do anything? It controls this signal. There you go. So let's run over there and have a good sticky beak at plastic, preferably without getting hit by a train. Crap, this train's going in every different direction. Okay. So you're full of plastic. You're half full of coal. So he's used the car there, but then just normal... Oh, because a chest will always empty before a car empties. You can see cars has a lot more material in it. In theory, everything is stay in sync and never ever falter. But if anybody's played Factorio and run it for long enough, everything eventually goes out of sync. I don't care how good your balancer is. Eventually, given enough time, everything will slowly go out of sync. He's also used pumps. So where is oil? So here's oil. Let's start with... Okay, so heavy comes out here, gets straight into lube. And excess heavy goes to light. Light runs down here, joins in with the main light line and gets turned. A lot of it gets turned to petroleum, and I'm willing to bet. Oh no, he's got petroleum here as well for light oil here as well for solid fuel. Into rocket fuel, and again, I don't understand why that one's set to a different speed of everything else. So let's go have a look. So. Again, I've always got double productivity. So I have 0.25. I've got slightly too many machines here for this. This is a 0.71. So again, it's slightly better ratio. Long-handed 0.91, 0.97. So it's not a long-handed inserter situation. It is if that gets above 200. But that one's always going to be faster than the others. Maybe this chem plant doesn't run as often as the others. Just because it's choked a little bit. I don't know. I don't know when it comes to that one. That one's got me, I have to admit. Now, I will say that Fuxxx built the whole thing in creative mode, and one of the main reasons you can see that is inserters sync up. Alright? Because they're put down instantaneously when you stamp a blueprint. Alright? Lots of things sync up and gives you I'd say errors that you can only ever see in creative mode. I'd also say features you can only ever see in creative mode, like inserters beautifully syncing. So that'd be red. No? Yeah, that would probably be red circuits. And again, he's got the train passing through 3 sections to top up to get all the bits and pieces it needs to go do red circuits. Petroleum is in what I would call a pump backbone. So pipes are absolutely horrible for UPS. It's one of the reasons the devs have actually said in version 17, it's one of the things that they're looking at optimizing pumps or pipes. And one of the ways that a lot of us try and get around that is by going nuts with pumps and tanks. So a pipe is calculated as one pipe, one entity. A tank is also calculated as one entity. But it carries liquid 3 tiles. And then 3 tiles in this direction. Right? So, you know, for what would have been 6 pumps, or 6 pumps. 6 pipes, right? You can get the same thing out of 2 tanks. Now, you can see that these 2 tanks are very uneven at the moment, right? All the liquid will slowly fall from that one to that one. It's actually happening pretty fast, but being the size of this base is, it is probably chewing through everything as fast as it possibly can. After looking at this, I would probably consider replacing, you know, this is a split. Alright, so we got half the fuel going this way. For acid. Oh wow, he did actually have some belts. Well, there you go. That has sulfuric acid and uranium running on it. Iron for sulfuric acid and uranium running on it for the fun of it. Basically produce lots and lots of rocket fuel. Which is his one thing that he is transporting via bots. Alright. All the fueling happens via bots. So you can see all the heads of the trains with one bridge in the middle between the north side of the bus and the south side of the bus are all, you know, it's all bot coverage just for the robots to deliver rocket fuel. Uranium fuel, rather. Nuclear fuel. I'm going to get there eventually. So yeah. Oil, no. So he's got... So yeah, this will give you a split, right, in your petroleum. But yeah, after looking at some of these and the differences between the tanks, I'd be somewhat inclined to replace them with more pumps. Unfortunately, it's going to be more entities, because a pump, again, is only calculated as a single fluid box. Same as a tank or a pipe, except it only traverses 2 squares, whereas a storage tank traverses 3 squares. It would mean a lot more liquids, roughly, which would be a catch-22. I don't know, it's hard to say when it comes to that. Is that a loop? Okay. Run that by me again. What are you connected to? You are actually connected to that pipe. So that pipe, and it's just pumping around circles. Well, I found a fault. Fuxxx, you fucked it. Yeah, that shouldn't be there, I don't think. Because that's pumping into there. That's pumping out of there and into there. These are all pumping. Well, again, this is coming down here, around and up to there again. So there's a couple of loops in the oil, right? Something he's going to have to look at fixing. But yeah, he's also pumping down into plastic, light oil, straight into rocket fuel. So that's the oil end of the bus. We've got red circuits here, and as predicted, we've got... he must be really, really lucky that this keeps working and hasn't fallen out of sync. I guess the fact that you're unloading a whole train's worth into a whole chest's worth into a thing that uses stuff in the exact same ratio, or does it? 2, 1, 2. 2, 4, 2. Plastic, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's ratioed it out there. Okay. So yeah, I guess because you're loading from here to here to here, you know, it wouldn't fall out of sync. I'd be very, very dubious. Unfortunately, you can't filter a chest, which is unfortunate. Whereas you can filter a train wagon, or a truck, or a car, or a tank. So yeah, we've got red circuits onto more red circuits onto blue circuits, which is same story. He's just got a lot of green circuits, just the right amount of red circuits needed to fill a car to make blue circuits as fast as possible. You know, but we all know how long they take. Here he has stepped up the beacons, and he has gone for a full 12 beacon coverage. But even then, these things are so slow. Like long-head inserter, 0.3 long-head inserters. These things are so slow, the inserters can actually go to sleep between movements. So yeah, blue circuits, more blue circuits, more blue circuits. Acid delivery, which, hell, that train, if it services once every 5 hours or so, it's probably enough. That's a lot of acid trains. That's a lot of acid trains. Acid on this side for batteries. Again, the same story. These will be filtered. Yep. Okay, that's an interesting train. That'll be for yellow. So that's coming from up here somewhere. Wherever we were. Blue circuits, batteries. And that's going all the way down. Because these are long trains, they need room to turn around and room to get into a stacker. So it's got to come all the way down to then come all the way back up to then sit in its stacker ready to get in to the next, to get into the station, to then make more yellow circuits. I think the biggest thing is that the trains, and actually, do we have an F4 menu that shows us this? Show path requests? No. Show paths? No. Show rail path. There we go. Okay. So now we can follow the pretty coloured line. So this train is trying to get to this way still. Which one is it? It's definitely the red line, which will keep changing colour continuously. Green. So it's trying to get up here to then get into there to then loop around to then come back down. And because a lot of the main bus features chain signals, because there's not a lot of room in the bus anywhere to park a train, Like he does have the occasional full signal that'll let trains park across the bus. But yeah, because there's lots and lots and lots of chain signals, trains sometimes have to wait a very, very long time before they can get the clearance. We need to turn that off because that'll send me nuts. Before they can get the clearance to move all the way across. And like I said, this one will be a loop. So a train can fit in just here before it can then dive across. No, it can come to here and it's going to stop. So there's a train over here. No, which way? That's that way. So this train's coming out, which means this one's going to stop. My hat's off. Really, really, really. Hats off to Fuxxx. This is insane. It is an insane base. It is an insane way of doing things. I'd definitely like to try my hand at something like this after doing, well, whilst I'm doing after definitely after I've done a 3K bot base and a 3K belt base, I might try my hand at a 3K train base. This is, we're not recording, running at about the same UPS as Olex 4.8K belt base, right? And production stats, this is twice as much. That's the important thing. It's over twice as much for about the same UPS cost on my machine. Which is just insane. And again, you know, just using filters. That's how he's done a lot of sites. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 1700 green, 1700 red, 1700 blue, 1700 purple, and then 2000 space science, because space science is going to be a pain in the ass and stacking a different number. Has he encountered that by... Yep, he's got a... Yep, he's got an exact count. So he's using filters number 1 and then a train filter number 2 to then take it all to labs with almost 30,000 science packs. But we've got our low density structures, and I missed what that was entirely. What are up here? Oh, solar panels. So again, this is the ingenious way he's making satellites. If a train... Oh, there we go. There's a train. So this is unloading all the crap into a chest, which then makes a single satellite. And bots just do that little bit of transport there to there. This train must be going south. Yeah, this is not quite unloaded yet. Oh, that's interesting. It looks like things have gone... Either they're gone just a little bit out of sync, or this is just how the trains are dealing with the bots. This is just how the bots are taking things. They're preferencing the top and the bottom over this one here. And then why do we have a couple of labs? Labs in, labs in. So this must be how he's ratioed his labs. He's had to have just a couple extras left over to get that perfect 10k per minute number he was looking for. And again, this is all these bits into a and again, that's genius, using filtering a deconstruction planner, because you'll never ever, it's like what's that armor thing that nobody ever uses? Discharge defense. All right, it's like using a filtering a discharge defense. Nobody ever uses it, so it shouldn't ever end up in your inventory. But yeah, he's using those to get exactly the amount of items, because if you limit the inventory, it doesn't always copy from wagon to wagon to wagon. Right? But again, just nice and simple. Load up 2 tanks, shove the tanks into the rocket silo. They're not fully beaconed just because of the room the tanks take up, which is like probably not a lot can be done about it. But this is one. You could probably call it 3. Well, it's probably 3 rockets per minute capable here. Now I know I said this is a 10k rocket per minute base, and I've taken it up and down the bus, and there's trains and loops and all sorts of things, and room for train parking, and a nightmare of a bus that I would never ever drive a train anywhere around here manually ever, even if my life depended on it, because either one of these trains is just going to chop you in half, or you're going to chop a train in half, which would be probably just as bad in a base like this. But you can see, we're probably doing about 3 rockets per minute here, and this is the only rocket section of the whole base. So that'll probably lead to the question of where's all the other science come from? And the answer is he just made 4 of them. He has made this base and then rotated it 90 degrees and put down base again. To then rotate it 90 degrees and put down the base again. To then rotate it once more and put it down again. So this brings us back to this lovely figure we have in the middle. Whoop. I told you I was getting hit by a train. Almost. So this brings us back to this lovely figure we have in the middle. All the way down here. And also explains what the wires are doing. The wires are carrying signals to these pretty lights and these combinators that are basically saying, are we good to go? Is the base running at full speed? Has something gone wrong? We've still got 5 green signals. Where do 5 green signals come from? Ah, they come from this. So if red science is greater than 0, output a green. Okay, do I have science? Yes, I do. If I have science, give me a green light. And when we get all the way down here, no green lights, 1 green light, 2 green light, 3 green light, 4 green light, 5 green lights. Good to go. Good to go. So yes, this is Fuxx's little 10k science per minute base. Thank you very much for letting me have a chance to tour this base. As always, if you wish to have your base toured, or would just like me to have a poke around, do a quick base tour video, give you some pointers, which I'm always happy to do. And same as noticing that the oil is in a loop more than once, or the petroleum. We didn't really cover the oil unload, but the oil unload, same story. It's insane. It's massive. There's extra pipes hanging on the edge, which really should have gone away. And I did notice earlier that it doesn't seem to be balancing terribly well, even though it does have balancing pipes. But it probably doesn't need 2 rows of them. No, it is balancing, but it doesn't need 2 rows of balancing pipes. 1 should be more than enough. Because if you've got 2 sets, you actually create a loop where liquids are going around and around in circles. Because Factorio is awesome like that. Where are we? Show fluid box info. And of course, that's when the train decides to be empty. Hey, new train. Yeah, I can't really get a good left to right. If you move these pipes apart one and you put a pipe in the middle, you can then see flow. Which is what I did when I was wandering around having a look around the base. So, with that, yeah, I'm going to leave it here. If you want your base toured, look through, all that sort of stuff, down in the description, you'll find a link to my Discord, which is the best place to get hold of me. You can also send me a message on Twitter or... I wouldn't recommend Facebook. That's probably the only thing I wouldn't recommend. Anyway, link to all my socials are down there. As always, hope you guys have enjoyed this little base tour, a little base tour of a very, very large base. Thank you, Fuxxx, for letting me have a look through, and I'm going to leave it there. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week in the next base tour. All right.